Hey, what's going on, guys? You've tuned into Rules for Rebels. We're talking merch today. I wanted to touch on this new Amazon policy update. It seems to have a lot of people worried. I've seen a lot of discussion on the Amazon merch forums, subreddits, Facebook groups, and a lot of people are really concerned about keyword stuffing, inaccurate descriptions, and really just kind of everything having to do with this content policy. Not only are people worried about their descriptions and things like that going forward, but also things we've done in the past. Obviously, you can also get in trouble for things retroactively. So people are wondering, do I have to go back and revisit old designs, take down some designs, edit descriptions, etc. So this update came to us on 3/29. Now, before we get into this, we're going to be looking at the actual policy. And we'll kind of take a look at a discussion on Amazon merch as well as the merch by Amazon subreddit. A lot of people are asking if distressed and vintage shirts are still allowed. So before we kind of really dive into this, essentially what this is, Amazon essentially said that they're going to be looking out for keyword stuffing as well as accurate descriptions. And as always, something that Amazon has been telling us for a long time, they don't want us describing the shirt. They want us describing the design, but not the shirt. So they don't want us to say that the shirts are soft. They don't want us to say that it's a premium shirt. They don't want us talking about the brand. They don't want us talking about what the shirt is made of. Every Amazon merch listing automatically gets that stuff added to it, right? Like the one exception of that is the whole premium thing. A lot of people have a beef with the fact that we can't distinguish between a standard tee and a premium tee. So what's the point of charging more if the buyer doesn't know they're getting a superior quality product? But I mean, outside of that, Amazon's going to tell the people, you know, the shirts are 100% cotton. Heather designs are, 60-40 cotton versus polyester, whatever it is. But Amazon's adding all this stuff to the design, so we don't need to describe it. In the case of pop sockets, Amazon adds pop socket grip or whatever it is they add to the end. We don't need to say it's a pop socket. So that's kind of what they're going for. I wanted to talk a little bit about keyword stuffing and kind of my thoughts on the whole vintage or distress thing. So we'll get into that here in a second. As of 3/29, so I'm a couple days late coming with this update. We have made updates to our content policy for Guidelines 3.3. Inaccurate product descriptions. The changes include inaccurate or misleading product descriptions, keyword stuffing, and references to colors, effects, and textures. After this announcement, we will begin reviewing new submissions for this guideline. We want to give you time to update your existing listings for compliance with these updates, so you will have an additional 30 days to review, edit, and resubmit your live designs that contain content which may be in violation of the updates to this policy. Designs which have not been updated after 30 days are subject to removal. So one thing I wanted to bring up, do you guys remember it? I know for sure, for a fact, I'm too lazy to go back and look like 2 years back in updates, but I know for sure, 100% sure, a while back, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, Amazon told us, we're going to start cracking down on keyword stuffing, and we're going to start cracking down on people describing their designs. And they gave us a 30-day lead time just like they are now, and nothing ever really seemed to be done about it. Like when I go through looking at Amazon merch designs, or when I'm doing keyword research or looking at other people's designs, I see some listings that are like basketball, baseball, football, soccer, hockey, basketball, badminton, men's, boys, girls, women's, boyfriend, girlfriend, mom, aunt. And it's like literally the titles, tags, and descriptions. That's obviously keyword stuffing, and people are still getting away with it. I would almost say an overwhelming number of shirts have keywords and descriptions like that. So at least in the past, it didn't seem like Amazon cracked down on this too much. Amazon also talked about they don't want us describing the actual shirts. So again, don't say premium, don't say made in America, don't say Bella Canva, don't say Port and Company, don't say any of this stuff. Again, I see people saying this stuff all the time, and like without fail, once a week in some forum or group, people are trying to find ways around it. Like, can I say that it's a nicer t-shirt? Like, no, they don't want you describing a t-shirt. I'll tell you one area where I'm comfortable with what I'm doing, but I will say it's kind of gray hat. Actually, before we get into this, let me say, okay, so here's kind of my thought towards keyword stuffing. As long as your sentence flows and is readable, you're okay. Now, obviously, I'm not Jeff Bezos. I'm not Elizabeth from the Amazon seller forums. So this is just my opinion. But my opinion is that as long as your bullet points or your description actually read and flow like a sentence, you're okay. So, I mean, just for an example, this baseball t-shirt is great for catchers, pitchers, and shortstops. If you play baseball, if you or your son or daughter plays baseball, softball, or t-ball, you have to get this shirt for them. It makes a great gift. Also great to get for grandma, grandpa, aunts, and uncles to wear to your son's t-ball game. You know, so I'm kind of keyword stuffing, but I'm keeping it flowing like a sentence, and I think that's completely okay. I'm going to continue doing stuff like that. So I mean, I'm confident in kind of my personal assessment there. One thing I do that I would say is somewhat gray hat is let's say I'm doing like Charleston, South Carolina t-shirts. My folks were living down in Charleston. I was thinking about moving there for a while. It's an area that I really like, and I do have a number of t-shirts about Charleston and South Carolina and the Charleston area and Low Country and all that type of stuff, which, by the way, Low Country is actually trademarked. I got kind of popped for that one. Even though like every business, every t-shirt, everything down there is Low Country. You're not allowed to say it on merch for whatever reason. But something that I do is I might make a Charleston, South Carolina t-shirt. Maybe it'll have like the Charleston flag, right? It'll have like the palmetto tree with the crescent moon. I think that's all it is. Palmetto tree and a crescent moon. And I might, in my description, say something like, this Charleston, South Carolina t-shirt is great for Southerners. Great shirt to wear to show pride in your city. Fun to wear, and then I'm going to try to hit a bunch of keywords having to do with Charleston, right? So I might do something like great to wear while you're riding your bike down by the waterfront, while you're sailing down on the Battery, or when you're playing a pickup game of football or baseball down at the park in Johns Island. Great shirt for people who are on Johns Island, Daniel Island, Mount Ashley, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so like that could be construed as keyword stuffing. Like I'll give you another example. Like maybe I have a Chicago flag t-shirt, right? And it might be awesome Chicago flag t-shirt for people from Chi-Town, whether you're from the north side, south side, Bucktown, Pilsen, or the Village. You'll love this Chicago themed t-shirt. And the next line of the bullet point might be like, this is an awesome t-shirt to wear while jogging by the lakefront, riding your bike on Lakeshore Drive, or playing a pickup game of baseball, basketball, soccer, or football at Millennium Park. Now, it flows like a sentence, and I'm describing good places to wear this shirt. But in essence, I'm trying to hit the keywords biking, running, jogging, baseball, football, soccer, which really have nothing to do with the Chicago flag t-shirt, right? I'm kind of hoping that maybe someone is just searching for Chicago baseball, Chicago football, Chicago soccer. But ultimately, at the end of the day, my shirt has nothing to do with any of these sports. So I think it would be okay to hit a number of different areas, to hit different like landmarks or destinations in Chicago. But when I start rambling off things like activities that you could wear my shirt while doing, that's probably kind of, we'll call that gray hat, right? I'm kind of starting to walk a thin line. I'll probably cut out doing stuff like that. I don't think I'll go back and redo any old designs. But that's kind of my thought process on this whole thing. In terms of the whole thing about vintage and distress shirts, and we'll kind of read the full description here, but Amazon doesn't want us saying things like glitter, metallic, or 3D because Amazon's printers don't print glitter, metallic, or 3D. Amazon outright says they don't want us describing textures, and I think saying words like vintage and distressed, technically speaking, that is describing a texture. However, vintage and distress do come across on t-shirts, whereas metallic, 3D, and glitter don't. Like I actually have a glitter shirt. I didn't use the words glitter. I even a year ago I knew not to use the words glitter. I don't use the word glitter to describe it, but I basically have like a text design with a glitter overlay. So the letters are actually made out of glitter. And the printing, it came out kind of shitty. Like it sort of looks like glitter, but not really. But Amazon doesn't want you describing a glitter shirt and the person gets it in the mail and like there's no sparkles, there's no sequins, there's no glitter. But in the case of like distressed and vintage, Amazon's printers will print an amazing looking vintage or distressed design. So again, ultimately at the end of the day, I'm not the I'm not the gatekeeper. I'm not the one who's going to make the final call on this, but I am going to continue doing vintage and distress designs, and I'm going to continue describing them that way, and I don't anticipate running into any issues. So let's see, designs and descriptions 3.3 is the particular area that's been edited here. So they go on to say, product description should match the product's design and content. For example, if your design displays a cat with lasers, but the description describes the product as a dog playing poker, the description is inaccurate. Other examples include using keywords and descriptions that do not relate to the design or are used to manipulate search results. For instance, inaccurately describing your product as maternity wear, or using repetitive, unnatural phrases that do not improve product's description quality, aka keyword stuffing. Excuse me. To avoid customer confusion, do not add artwork or content that requires special printing effects, including neon, metallic, foil, rose gold, gold, glitter, glow effects, glows in black light, glows in the dark, sparkle, sequin, metal, wood, diamond, or gem designs. So even though they do describe not talking about textures, they go into great length to lay out pretty much every texture they don't want you to use. And vintage and distressed, I would think, are two of the most common textures. I guarantee you there's a lot more people doing vintage and distressed designs than there are people doing rose gold, foil, and metallic. So I'm pretty confident that if Amazon didn't want distressed designs, they would have listed them here. So like I said, you guys make the final call for your store. I'm going to continue doing it. I don't think that's kind of the intention of the policy. And then we see a couple questions here. Somebody on Amazon merch subreddit said vintage or distressed look okay. With the new rules, it says effects or textures are not okay. Do you guys think we can say this, or is this a stupid thing to say regardless? I figured it was good to give the buyers a heads up about the aged look, but not sure now. In resources, it says distressed sells well, but are we supposed to mention that in the title or just do it? I'm confused and lazy, not wanting to change all my titles. I know I'm not the only one that uses these. What are you guys doing? And not a ton of responses here. Let's see. According to the dashboard, the new guidelines are already in effect. The words color, distressed, retro, and vintage have not given me a rejection. So this guy's continuing to use vintage and retro. He's not reporting any issues. I'm wondering the same. Almost all of my descriptions mention a vintage distressed look. Yes, distress must be fine, as it is specifically mentioned in merch resources, best practices, designs that typically sell well, distressed designs, and I do recall seeing that in resources. Has rose gold been causing rejections? It just describes a color. I've never really had a need to do rose gold, so I'm not sure about that one. Let's see, here's another one. How do we know if we are in violation of the new guidelines? The new keyword stuffing guidelines issued on 3/29 have me confused. How do we know which ones need to be edited? And I have a few pending shirts with a countdown on them, but I think they may just be timed out. Also, is vintage distress considered a violation? So we kind of already covered that. Let's see. I just uploaded a few t-shirt designs with vintage retro distress style. They're all live without any issues. I think people are stressing about this more than necessary. Are your bullet points written in mostly coherent strings that resemble sentences? Are they relevant? Then it's not keyword stuffing. You're correct that your pending removal shirts have no shade. Okay. No shade here. Hopefully this new rule will cull a lot of the shirts that are clogging Amazon and give some of the newbies to the program some breathing room. Good to know. So, yeah, seems like most people are kind of in agreement or of the same thought process as myself, that to avoid keyword stuffing, keep your keywords relevant. Make sure your descriptions, your bullet points are not just a bunch of keywords separated by commas. Make sure that they actually read and flow like sentences. And then I think everybody's pretty much in agreement that vintage and distressed is okay. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this policy. What's your take on it? Is this going to change how you do things? Do you have any old designs that you're going to have to go back in and either edit or take down? I'd love to hear what you guys think about this new policy, what your feelings are. Are you worried about it, or is it a non-issue? Let me know. Drop a comment down below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button down below, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.